If you're planning on buying any cards from TCG Player, make sure you use our affiliate link right here in the description of our video to help support the channel. It's the best way to do it and it's free. And if you need any code cards, make sure you check out Potown Store for automatic email delivery and use code Tablemon for 5% off all your purchases. If you're from Europe, millibotsgaming.com is a great option to get your cards from. They have all sorts of sealed products, merchandise, and all the sets available from Pokemon Sun and Moon upwards, including the latest Hidden Fate set. Don't forget to use Tablemon code when checking out to get a further 5% off from your final purchase. Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new day of Road to TCG World 2020. I have a deck in front of me that is courtesy of Jimmy Rutledge. He decided to support the channel through the Camelot challenges, which I will show in the screen right now. Yeah, these Camelot challenges allow you to interact with the channel and me, I guess, a little more directly. As you can see, you can ask me to test your deck just as Jimmy asked me to do so for him. You can send me your deck list and then I will analyze the deck, suggest a few changes, and then play 2 or 3 games of the deck. If I'm live streaming, I'll do it live. Otherwise, I will do an individual video like this one, or you can just choose to support the channel and challenge me. We'll play a best of 3 live on the channel. Or if you come up with a new request that you want to do, you can also choose to, like Henry did, have me do push-ups for every KO during a game. Basically anything that pops into your head that you'd like to contribute to the channel, instead of just directly donating, as is the case with most people. This is a fun way to make up some quirky fun challenges and then have us interact a little bit more. And so moving on to analyzing Jimmy's deck, he talked to me about this concept a little bit. He's trying to pull off a very cool combo, right? Jessie and James allows you to discard cards from your hand and it forces your opponent to discard 2 cards. If Weezing is discarded by an effect of Jessie and James, then you can have your opponent discard an extra card from their hand. And so if the 2 cards you choose from Jessie and James are 2 Weezings, that's 4 cards they have to discard at that point in time. And afterwards, you can use Unfair GX, which your opponent reveals their hand and you discard 2 cards from it. So really cool combination of attacks right here. We have Honchkrow, Solgaleo, and Rishizard as well to go with the Mewtwo, and we have this Mewtwo with the Mind Report ability so that you can put a Jessie and James at the top or a Welder at the top, whichever one you need, in order to make sure you are getting some damage in against your opponents. You also have the Chip Isaacs to control your opponent's top deck after you have controlled their hand, so it's kind of like a control-based MEW3 deck that can also apply a lot of pressure with Solgaleo, Honchkrow, and Rishizard. So this is his original list. I thought it was a really good starting base. He did ask for my input on the changes that I would make, and so the first thing I noticed was that he has a ton of Pokemon Search, right? Usually you see either 4 Cherish Wall with 4 Mysterious Treasures, or 4 Cherish Wall with 4 Pokemon Communication, but he has decided to play 4 of each, which in my eyes is a little bit excessive in terms of Pokemon Search, because there is too much Pokemon Search at any given point, right? So the first things that's one of the first things that I noticed. I also noticed that the Pokegear and the Acrobite counts were not maximized, and especially when you're only relying on Welder and the Dene as your supporter cards or as a way to draw, Acrobite and Pokegears definitely help with Acrobite with the thinning, Pokegear with the Welder, finding the Welder so that you can keep seeing cards, right? So here is the deck that I put together for him, where I added in the Jirachi GX because I do think you need to cover your weakness, right? Like, I'm not trying to take away from the deck, I'm just trying to make sure I have my weakness covered a little bit in terms of facing off against other Mew. I also figured that having the 3 psychics, even though we don't have Espeon Deoxys or Latios in the deck, does give us access to this GX attack, which, like, in any game, it'll be super cool to pull off the unfair GX attack, right? But if you can't pull it off, if your opponent's applying pressure onto you, then there might be many instances where the where the Miraculous Duo GX attack is what we need to end up doing. So I figured having access to the psychic energies would be pretty good. Now, another thing I did was, as I mentioned, I took out the Pokemon communication, since we do want to focus on our GXs and the Mysterious Treasures plus Cherish Ball, literally search for everything in our deck. And so I decided to maximize those counts of Pokegear and the Acrobike to make sure that the deck flows a little better, I would hope. I didn't get to play with the deck beforehand, but this in my mind feels like there is a point where either you're out of the Denays or you can't afford to Dene change a second time that turn, whereas the Pokegear, if off of the Dene you find Pokegear, that allows you to potentially keep going and find that Welder. But if off of the Dene you find a Pokemon communication, well, then your whole deck basically comes to a halt. And then I also took out one of the Chip Isaacs and one of the Jessie and James, not because I don't want to do the discarding and hand control strategy, but simply because I don't expect to be able to pull off 4 Jessie and James in a single game, definitely not more than 1 or 2. So I figured 3 copies was enough to potentially pull it off when I can, and without necessarily maxing out on that, in favor of a few extra energies, a little bit of extra consistency with the Pokegears and the Acrobikes, and I did have to find space for the Jirachi GX as well. So let's give this list a try, and let's see if we can actually pull off the combo that Jeremy intended initially on, Jimmy intended on, or planned on doing for most games. He even showed me a video which shows him pulling off the combo against an opponent, against an opposing Quacknack deck, I believe. So pretty cool deal right there. And it seems like it's on turn 2 that he's pulling that off, so that's really cool. So we get to go first. That's obviously going to be really cool, really good for this deck moving forward. I mean, this is an okay hand, except for the fact that we are going to lose the double reset stamps here, so that's obviously not great. Not much we can do about that though. And we're up against Blacephalon, arguably one of the most arguably one of the worst matchups for the deck. However, if I'm able to activate Beastring when he has no cards in hand, that's actually going to be potentially really good. So at least I have the Jirachi, I don't have to search for it later. The Honchkrow, I feel like, could take a backseat. I can't use Honchkrow or Solgaleo this turn, so I'd rather have the benefit of Solgaleo this turn. And let's see what we get off of this Dedenne. We do find a Welder, which is very welcome. I'm not gonna play the Mysterious Treasure yet, just to figure out what else we end up getting. So far my opponent should not suspect too much of anything, really. The Psychic is decent-ish to grab. Oh, I also put in a Fire Crystal to help with the Weldering part of the deck. Yeah, I definitely think it's the Psychic. I don't see myself pulling off Jessie and James next turn either. So I feel like this is it. I'm not going to use the Chip Isaacs. I don't know what my opponent will be doing this turn. And basically, if I kept the Pokegear, there was a chance I could pull off the Jessie and James for 3 cards, but that's probably not going to be enough. Now, I'm really glad I have this switch, because that means I can essentially free retreat, which is really good. Well, not free retreat, sorry. I can retreat and remove the confusion that is most likely coming my way. right at this very moment from my opponent's Blacephalon. So we'll see. But yeah, remember, my goal is to try and pull off the Jessie and James with the double wheezing. Hopefully we can do that. Okay. So we do indeed get confused. I'm gonna acrobat first because if I find a fire I can discard it and then make my fire crystal that much better. This is where I am going to end up revealing my strategy, I guess, or the possibilities of my strategy. I'm not sure my opponent can actually do much about that. Alright, so it's looking pretty okay. I'm gonna treasure for another MEW2 to weld her onto, right? That's the goal. There's the Weezings. I do have the other two Jessie and James, so we should be okay for now. Should definitely be okay-ish for now. I'll go ahead and attach, well no, I won't attach first. I will actually weld her first. There's the welder. Ooh, well, that's harsh. That is actually very harsh. I don't even need to use the switch anymore. But I mean, there's no point in keeping this hand because there's no guarantee I'll ever get the Weezing, right? I can just retreat on Turbo Strike. Is there any universe where I choose to knock out the Blacephalon instead? I don't think there is. I don't think I knock out the Blacephalon this turn. That was very harsh though, drawing that double Weezing. But oh well, I'll definitely retreat. Yeah, I'll retreat, then I will Turbo Strike. Now I have to switch for next turn, I guess that's also potentially useful. I guess I'll Acrobike. Now that I Acrobike, that seems okay to me. The cool part is I'm really thinning a lot here. I'm really thinning a lot right here. And there's one Weezing, so there's part of the combo. Basically, if I actually activate B-String, and I have my opponent at very few cards in hand, that's the dream, right? That is the dream. And I even have the Honchkrow. So I could potentially remove up to 5 cards from my opponent's hand next turn, if I wanted to. We'll just have to see. We'll just have to see. 5 is as good as 6, right? And it's really cool that I can actually discard the Honchkrow with the Jessie and James. So we see my opponent play Bills for a Welder and a Cherish Ball. That probably means my opponent will end up keeping a lot of the cards in his hand because of the Welder. Discards another Mysterious Treasure, probably for the Nagnadel GX. No, for the regular Nagnadel. So is he just gonna Dead Change? No, there's the Nagnadel GX. So alright. Alright, so there's the Ultra Conversion. 6 cards in hand. Can we keep him at 5 though? If my opponent plays something else, then we're definitely gonna go for it next turn. No, my opponent goes for... I mean, if we discard B-Strings, that's also pretty solid. Okay, so we do flip heads. Oof. Alright. So the game is literally telling us to do it. The game is actually telling me to go for it. And I think I'm gonna go for it. I mean, sure, I don't discard the whole hand, but if I leave like just one fire, that's perfectly fine, right? It's just my opponent doesn't have any Ultra Beast or Supporter as a top deck. We know he has a Welder in his hand. Alright, so let's go for the Jessie and James. My opponent discards first. And the music, perfect timing for the music. Okay, so Heatran and Reset Stamp. So I'll choose these two so I can copy the Honchkrow. I would like my opponent to discard an extra card. Thank you very much. There's the Welder. And then I will go ahead and switch. And I will go for an Unfair GX. Ooh. So I definitely think it's B-String and Welder, right? The energy doesn't accomplish much for my opponent. He hasn't even used, like he hasn't even had access to this, so support your top decks. Not much changes for my opponent after this turn in terms of his potential top decks, but I mean having two Welders and a B-String down, that's pretty solid. Top decks and Ultra Beast. What can you do? What can you do, right? What can you actually do about that? Not much. Generally, not much. So we know one card in my opponent's hand is an energy. We don't know what the other two cards are. If he attaches it though, it might be worth to go for Jessie and James again. Oh, come on. What? Come on. He could not have chosen a better 3 cards. Generally. A supporter, a stadium, and that guy. Okay, so it chooses to use the GX attack. That means I don't need to switch out, which is great news. And I could pull off another Jessie and James for 3 cards. Having lost my Reset Stamp is pretty annoying. I do have a Weezing, I do have a Jessie and James, I also have these cards. I feel like it's worth Data changing here. If I lose both Mewtwo's, I just lose anyways, right? So, and it's good to just have the Reshi in the discard pile already. The 2 Reset Stamps that I lost might end up being the reason we end up losing the game, kind of. I don't think I want a Giant card, because then that potentially helps my opponent. So I'll go ahead and Welder, just one. I should be able to finish off the game in this amount of turns. There's a Jessie and James for next turn potentially. So I will finally Turbo Strike. Can't believe my opponent top decked an Ultra Beast though. That's super annoying. Alright, so B-String is turned on. You want to turn on B-String when your opponent has 1 fire and something else in their hand. Not when they have 6 brand new cards. Alright. I did like the potential for the combo though. It's like you lock them and then you go for the kill, for the win. Right. There's a Heat Factory. It's also not great. Using it before any B-String. See a Welder. That's annoying. So we might still be okay if my opponent doesn't find an insane amount of B-Strings. The fact that we can't Reset Stamp though. If we could go Reset Stamp Jessie and James next turn, I feel like that would close out the game for us. I feel like that would certainly close out the game for us. That's the 3rd Welder. Yeah, just look at my opponent's insane hand size. Drawing the 2 Reset Stamps so early on was definitely very unlucky. You will be left energy-less though. You will be left energy-less after this turn. Okay, chooses to get out of the bench Mewtwo. I imagine. No, chooses to go after Jirachi. That's actually a pretty good move. Well, depends on if he has other custom catchers. Okay. That's a mistake. No more custom catchers means I can just knock this guy out and then retreat and knock the Magnetel, tank a hit, and then knock out the last one. The beast energy will not change that, right? 220. Ooh, it might actually. 220 plus. Oh, it's gonna be perfect for him. It's gonna be perfect for him because of this. The Mew is going to win my opponent the game. Jeez. Jeez. So is there merit to... I mean, better than nothing, right? Better than doing nothing. Maybe he makes a mistake. Maybe my opponent makes a mistake. Do I keep the Wheezing? He discarded an energy and an Ultra Space. Sure, I'll keep the Wheezing. And then I'll go Fuller Strike. Yeah. So I deactivate B-String. Oh, he's at 3 prizes now, so that's game. That's game. Yep, imagine if I could have Reset Stamp plus Jessie and James here. I'd still be in a lot of trouble because he very smartly knocked out the Jirachi GX. Very smartly knocked out the Jirachi GX, so I'm just gonna concede here. He will hit me for weakness, unfortunately, for a bunch of damage. Well played by my opponent, well played, and nicely top decked out of the Jessie and James. I do like the strategy though. I think it flowed a lot better than I thought it would. I definitely think it flowed a lot better than I thought it would. So yeah, let's give it a go for another game where we get to go first yet again. That's awesome. And we are going to start Reshi. However, we do have Mewtwo and we have the Pokegear. Well, the Pokegear is not that big. We have data changes, what I mean, I guess. And we're getting mulligan. Plural? Yeah. Ooh. Aerodactyl. So this is going to be annoying because Jirachi is a great way to recover from this combo, right? And I believe the only Pokemon this deck is going to be playing is indeed Jirachi. Alright. So we drew the Dene, we got a few mulligans, that's really nice. I'll definitely be grabbing this Solgaleo here. And then I will definitely be grabbing the Mewtwo. There's no point in me playing the Pokegears, because there's not really any support that I benefit from. I don't have any fires for the Welder, and there's no point in playing Jessie and James right now. I will, however, bench, attach, switch, and then simply go for the data change. Hopefully losing the Fire Crystal is not that big a deal. Decent-ish. Definitely decent-ish. But I'm not gonna... Well, no, I'm not gonna Cherish Ball. I will, however, Pokegear, find a Welder. That's very nice. That's very nice. Just to keep going. Yeah, just to keep going. Might as well. And there's another Dedenne. There's a treasure. So, I mean, there's a genuine chance we could just pull off the combo next turn, depending on what we end up getting. Oh, that's very harsh. That's very harsh. Darn. I mean, yeah. If I top deck Jessie and James, the Weezing is a much better card to have here. So then I'll just pass. Now I wish I had those Pokegears, or I had drawn into a Jessie and James. Then I would be able to pull off the combo right here. That would be fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Okay, I think in this match in particular, it's going to be super important to have access to the healing GX attack. So I might save my GX attack for that. We'll see the Cynthium, Pokegum, Caracosta for Jirachi, and then goes for Cynthia. So didn't find the stadium of the Stellar Wish. That's good news for us, of course. Yeah, I feel like, I mean, I will attack his hand to discard resources, but I don't think I'm going to focus on the GX of Honchkrow. I think I'm going to focus on applying as much pressure as I can. And that top deck is just absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. So, definitely grabbing the Jirachi. And then I am certainly treasuring away the Jirachi. Yep. Not for Weezing, but rather for Mewtwo. And then, I mean, there is merit to the full combo, I guess. But with double Jirachi, it feels iffy. Definitely feels iffy to me. Well, those are not great cards to draw. That's going to be our last data change. And we will have lost a Weezing. But it's like, will there ever be a better situation? Not so sure about that. I think I just go for it. Alright, not the best, not worst. We don't know my opponent's hand. I think I just do Roll Strike here. Don't see a reason. Like, if my opponent doesn't mind the stadium, then he gets absolutely benched here, so... And our goal is to win, right? First and foremost, our goal is to win. Before committing to the Jessie and James discard, our goal is to win. So my opponent does in fact choose to use the Jan card, trying to thin. So then, oh, okay, then goes for the builds. Should find the stadium here. Doesn't though. Custom Gadget and Poke here. Uh-oh. So the Stellar Wish, yep, that's gonna be it. So sorry, opponent, that happened. Alright, let's play another game with this MEW3 control deck. Alright, let's see if we can get an opponent. Let's see if we can hit the 6-card discard. That's the dream, right? That is certainly the dream. And it seems like we're up against a mirror match where we don't have Tag Purge, and that's gonna be a big problem. I get to go first again, that's very kind of PTCGO. But then it immediately compensates by starting with that Mewtwo. Immediately compensates by starting with the non-GX Mewtwo. Psyshock. Mewtwo deals 70 damage to a Keldeo. Not great. Alright, so we see a Turtonator. Okay, so I'm gonna Pokegear first. If I Pokegear and find Welder, I'll Church Ball for Mewtwo. If I Pokegear and whiff, then I'll Church Ball for Dedenne. Perfect. Done deal. Done deal right here. I think this is pretty solid. Nothing too impactful price that I can see. A Psychic, a Dedenne, which is not terrible, a Mewtwo, which is not terrible, and having access to a Dedenne off of the prize is also potentially really cool. So hopefully these 3 cards from Welder don't make us that draw. Well, I certainly will not be that drawing, I guess. Sure. I'll put the fire at the top. This is harsh though, because my other Dedenne is priced. So after the 6 cards, finding more cards is just going to be really, really difficult. I will thin first. Yeah, I think that makes sense. Thinning. And then I think I hold. Yeah, I won't even bench this. I'm just gonna hold. Because I don't know, like, depending on what my opponent does, it'll make my acrobatics that much easier to decide. I hope. Okay, Cherish Ball for Dedenne immediately. So its ability Reshi not quite whatever it was. My opponent didn't have an energy and he did have a Pokegear, so actually putting the Pokegear at the top might have been a little bit better. Just a little bit. There's the welder. Ooh, I really hope my opponent gets a knockout here. That would save me so much trouble. Jirachi, please switch into Heatran and KO my Mewtwo. Please do it. Vulpix, not quite. If we eliminate this energy though, we are able to find a switch here. If we're able to find a switch, we will be able to get a knockout on this Turtonator, and therefore, ugh. Well, this is not great. However, if I pull up a Jessie and James here, it's not the one I want. It's not the one I want. We want Jessie and James. Okay, I'm gonna Cherish Ball. Probably should have done that before. Come on, Pokegear, come on. Come on, Pokegear. No! Darn, we could have left my opponent cardless. Ugh. Darn. So starting that Mewtwo ends up hurting us really badly because it has a 2 retreat cost. Not finding a stadium, not finding any energies of the Acros. That's just icing on the cake. Rather, salt on the wound. Not icing on the cake, that's just salt on the wound. Oof. We would have been able... I mean, unless my opponent top decked the Dedenne, right? Who knows? Who knows? This is harsh though. This is absolutely very harsh. Yikes. Does my opponent have energy switch KO the Mewtwo? If he doesn't, that's basically game. There's the switch. Into Jirachi, interestingly enough. Fire Crystal, there's no fires in the there's one. Maybe that's what he needs. Or maybe he only had 2 fires in the... Has the escape or 2? Please opponent knock me out. Well, it's not really helpful if he knocks me out. I just get to deal 120 damage and that's it. It's really sad though that my opponent had this stadium and not the other one. Ah, come on. And that I priced it to Dene. This is just awful. This is just absolutely awful. How are we getting this unlucky? Nothing I can do. Literally nothing I can do. Imagine if I had found the Jessie and James right there. Pretty sure my opponent will play the Giant Hearth now because he will knock out my Mewtwo. So I should have benched the other Mewtwo. Yeah. My frustration led me to making this mistake. My frustration 100% led me to making this mistake right here. We know my opponent has a Fire Crystal, whiffs the Stellar Wish, has a Pokegear, has a Welder even. So it's just really looking quite awful here. I'm gonna need a response KO. 100%, otherwise I'm dead. I'm gonna need to find that switch and another fire off of my 3-card Welder. That seems impossible. That actually seems impossible. See, we're so close though, so close to pulling off a really, like, certain win, I'd say. If I bench the Mewtwo, I'd only need an extra fire to prevent my opponent from completely annihilating me. Why must you mock me, deck? Why must you mock me? The biggest issue was drawing both the Denes, right? Like, we drew both the Denes, we priced the other one, we completely whiffed. We've just been watching my opponent play. Yeah, I'm just gonna concede here. Let's try to find one last game, okay? Regardless of the result, but If I hadn't, I got frustrated at the previous draws, and then I made the mistake of not benching the Mewtwo, which I should have, expecting the knockout on the other one. And if that turn I had reset stamped plus GX KO'd that Heatran, I might have been in a much better spot than I was at that time. Now we are going second, and we both mulligan. We both indeed mulligan here. Twice for me. We're up against Pidgeotto control. Okay. We are actually up against Pidgeotto control. Okay, I guess my opponent was very astounded at what he was seeing. So we're going second against pitching control, starting the Dene. That's just great, right? Right. I mean, would be pretty sweet if for whatever reason we were able to pull up a Jessie and James on turn 1. If my opponent was left with like 3 cards in their hand, maybe even 4. With the Poke here, so that might be good news. Nope. At least we have a counter stadium though. That's certainly helpful. We rely 100% on that Acrobike though. 1,000,000% on that Acrobike to get us something good. Chip Ice Axe. Alright, so my opponent, I can bring down my opponent to 0 cards right this instant. I actually can. It's gonna be crazy. It's actually going to be crazy. Alright. Not the best card to get. So I honestly think, I mean, I generally think I'm gonna go for the Jessie and James. And then try to get out of the lock faster than my opponent. A lot depends on this. Alright. This is harsh though. Do I go for the greedy? I mean, I'm not even guaranteed an attack. Right? I'm not even guaranteed an attack. Then what cards do I discard off the Jessie and James though? The energy? That's so harsh. I don't think I can afford to do it. Maybe next turn? It's so greedy though. If I do it, I'm not applying any pressure either. So what's the point? Right? So what's the point? Sure, Psychic. I'm not happy about it, but oh well. I was so tempted though. I was actually so tempted. The water or the Mars? I mean, the water allows him to start recycling. The Mars just gets him 2 random cards. I'll give him the Mars because it's not like outstanding draw. And I think I'm gonna try to change here. Not happy about it, but hopefully we'll find a better opportunity to pull this off. And I don't have an attack I can use, right? No. I do not have an attack I can use right here. If that had been a church, that would have been fantastic. They can't do anything. Yikes. Wow. I actually can't do anything next turn. If I could get a knockout on the active, I'd be in an okay spot. Yeah, I don't have... Oh no, I do have an attack. I can use my cargo GX. No, I can't. No, again, I literally do not have an attack. I can use Star Search. I will Star Search. I will Star Search. Sure. I'll attach the Psychic to myself. Alright, at least I get GX next turn. Well, I have Welder if my Stadium sticks. Unless my Welder gets discarded, 25% chance that that happens. 25% chance that my Welder gets discarded, or my opponent can simply penalize that. Thank you. I was so tempted though, so tempted to put my opponent at 0 cards. Crushing Hammer, here we go. I need my Soul Galio ASAP. ASAP. Oh, and find the water, come on. They only play 4 energy, how do you find it so early on? This is not going to be a fun game. Okay, no Pidgeotos gives us hope though. You know what? I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna pass on the Welder in favor of Data changing to find a Jessie and James. I am actually going to do that. I am actually going to do that. I feel like I shouldn't. No, I should. I was gonna say I shouldn't bench these guys, but I should. Then the question is, do I wanna Giant Hearth? I feel like I do want to. Maximize my odds. I'm aiming to use Soul Galio anyways. But by keeping the Giant Hearth active, I could have. Yeah. Alright. There's the Jessie and James, and I even get to discard this Soul Galio. That is just absolutely beautiful to see. So yeah, it's Jessie and James. The Pokegear and the Soul Galio. So my opponent lost Cynthia and Pokecom, and I get to Turbo Strike for the KO. Can we actually win right here? I'll put the 2 Psychics, that's for sure. Can we actually win right here? That's gonna be crazy if we actually pull this off. The Jessie and James is legitimately the reason why we might win this. Let's see what my opponent top decks. He's down 3 supporters and a Pokegear. Come on. Takes away my energy. Well, I mean, out of all the supporters, that was best case scenario, right? There we go. Huge props to Jimmy. This is a really cool deck, I think. Really cool concept. I was never able to pull off the 6 card discard, but I'll leave you guys the clip of him pulling it off right here. Yeah, after the video ends. And with that, that will be all. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you're interested in me doing something similar with your deck, once again, definitely check out the Camelot bounty challenges. I'm sure, rather, I'll be happy to comply with that. And if you have another idea, that's the place to suggest it, and then we can work from there. Okay? Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to leave a like, and I'll catch you guys next time. Bye-bye.